The team reported things escalated. He threw a basketball at Morant. Morant then punched him in the face, and another man got involved.
Respectfully, we're not going to comment on that matter.
So this has been one of the more interesting stories that I've seen ever since I began my travels. And the reason I haven't been able to get you guys this video until now is, well, my internet in Israel isn't as nice as I'd hoped it would be. But fortunately, I think we're finally in a situation where we can sit down and make this video. I think I got some good Wi-Fi right here, so I could upload this video for you guys, and I'm glad I can, because this is a crazy story involving one of the future faces of the NBA. So before we get to the content, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications, because this video is probably going to get demonetized. It involves one of the biggest NBA stars allegedly attacking a... Now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. This video is sponsored by PrizePicks. You guys know PrizePicks has been my latest obsession because I live in California. There's no way that you could gamble on games in California, so the best way you could get action on games is through PrizePicks. And ever since I partnered with them, we've been having a lot of fun. And before we get to the latest promo, I want to give a huge shout out to my man, Nasri Hasbun, who tweeted me a 6-legged pick that he hit on as a result of our last promo, which means he 25x'd his money. And that's freaking awesome. Hopefully more of my subs hit this big as a result of today's promo. As a matter of fact, it's not only today's promo, because from this day and on until Christmas Day, PrizePicks is releasing a brand new promo every day, and it's called Picksmas. All you have to do is download PrizePicks, use my promo code microphone to get up to a $100 deposit match, and then just log into PrizePicks each and every day to see what they're offering for that day. Since they're offering a brand new promo each and every day, I'm probably going to be posting my picks onto my Instagram story. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see I literally play PrizePicks each and every day. So huge shout out to PrizePicks for the sponsorship. Make sure you sign up with my promo code microphone or the link in the description down below. And thank you, PrizePicks, for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Ja Morant is without a doubt one of the biggest stars in the NBA right now, and that's saying something considering the fact that this man literally was just drafted in the 2019 NBA draft. I mean, at the time, he was perceived as the consolation prize for the team that wouldn't be able to get the #1 overall pick and win the Zion Williamson sweepstakes. As time progressed and Zion dealt with his injury problems, he was perceived as the guy that should have been the #1 overall pick in the NBA draft. But I think the #1 thing that I find to be the most impressive about Ja Morant is how he literally put the Memphis Grizzlies on the map. I mean, this has a lot to do with just the general construction of the Memphis Grizzlies right now, but at the time that I'm recording this video, Memphis Grizzlies and Denver Nuggets are essentially tied for first place. The Grizzlies are technically second place because of a tiebreaker. They're currently on the midst of a 4-game winning streak as well. And a lot of this has to do with Ja Morant's success ever since entering into the NBA. I mean, just this year, in his 4th season in the NBA, Ja Morant is averaging 27 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists, shooting 46% from the field, averaging a 23.7 PER, and the Memphis Grizzlies once again seem to have a very bright future ahead of them, especially now that Desmond Bane is back from his injury. It seems like there's a chance that this team could make a legitimate push into the Western Conference Finals, but that's not the only thing that makes Ja Morant very, very special. Ja Morant's brand in of itself seems to be extremely kid-friendly, and although he's had very funny moments like this,
you look at around the league as you're studying and say, we're gonna have to run through them.
Celtics.
No one in the West.
Nah. I'm fine in the West.
Which, following this interview, the Grizzlies actually lost. But aside from that, Ja Morant's future both on the court and off of the court seems to be extremely promising, from not only the talent he displays when he plays basketball, but also the amount of range that this young man's brand has. I mean, he's super athletic, he's entertaining to watch, he's kid-friendly, and if he continues and has a squeaky clean reputation off the court and doesn't get into trouble, then obviously he could have a remarkable career for himself, both as a basketball player and a businessman. But there's a huge problem, because Ja Morant is currently in the midst of a lawsuit. So check this out. This was first reported by TMZ. According to TMZ Sports, Ja Morant has been sued, TMZ Sports has learned, after he was allegedly involved in the attack of a during a basketball game in July at his Tennessee home. The suit was filed in Shelby County in September. Court records show the case has since been sealed, but we've learned it all stems from a July 26th incident at the NBA superstar's residence in Eads, Tennessee. According to police documents, a 17-year-old who filed the lawsuit on September 9 told cops that he was playing in a pickup basketball game with Morant at the house when the two got into a verbal altercation. Wait, so hold on. This wasn't at like a public park or anything, because it says he was playing in a pickup basketball game with Ja Morant at the house of the place that he was playing pickup basketball in. So pretty much the only way, at least in my head, and let me know if I'm wrong or you could tell me in the comment section down below, but the only way that these two would cross paths is either from friends of friends or family friends, or this kid had to have been somewhat involved in Ja Morant's circle, maybe a distant cousin. I don't know. I'm just speculating here, but in my head when I first read this report, I thought that these two were just playing pickup ball at maybe a public park or something, and then the altercation happened. But no, it seems like it might be a little bit closer to home here. So the plaintiff, according to the docs, said the argument became heated and he threw a basketball at Ja Morant, accidentally hitting him in the face. The teenager said the Grizzlies point guard then approached him, put his chin on his shoulder, and asked a bystander if, quote unquote, should I do it to him, which isn't really atypical, especially if you go to your local LA fitness, man. This happens literally like every 15 minutes. A hard foul gets called, two people get like chest to chest to each other, it looks like they're about to fight one another, and then ultimately the cooler heads come in and separate the two, and then they get back to playing ball. At the end of the day, you're playing a physical sport with one another. Obviously testosterone's gonna get running, adrenaline's gonna be flowing. Sometimes that just happens. We've even seen it on national television. So the teen says Morant then struck him with a quote unquote closed fist, knocking him to the ground. So that's just very fancy jargon of saying, yo, Ja Morant punched the living hell out of me. According to the docs, the 17-year-old said Morant then continued sticking him while on the ground and claims another man jumped in and began hitting him as well. Now, obviously, I'm not there. I can only go based off of Ja Morant's reputation, but these allegations are so freaking wild to me. I mean, he's pretty much saying Ja Morant and him were playing basketball with one another, and then Ja Morant gets really close to the 17-year-old, like chest to chest, goes to his boy, says, hey, should I do it to him? And then punches the kid, knocks the kid to the ground, well, the 17-year-old, whatever you want to call him. And then after he gets knocked to the ground, there wasn't a moment where he said,
I went too far.
At that point, multiple of Ja Morant's acquaintances then came over and started attacking the kid while he was lying flat on the ground. Now, it's not over. There's still a lot more. Officers in the documents say that they noted that the teenager had a large knot on his head. In the docs, cops say that Morant told them he did strike the teenager, but insisted that he was acting in self-defense. Morant said that the plaintiff threw the ball at him intentionally during the argument and then began to approach him as if he wanted to fight. Now, it sounds like this young man may have had an agenda here. If you're throwing a ball at Ja Morant and trying to get him to attack you, it's not like Ja Morant is a multi-millionaire or anything of that sort. It's not like he just recently signed a gigantic 5-year, $193 million rookie maximum extension that could become worth $231 million. And it's not like this young man knows that, hey, this is going to be too much of a pain in the for Ja Morant to deal with. So chances are Ja Morant would pay thousands or even $1 million to make sure this goes away. I don't necessarily know how much this young man is suing for, but I can imagine if Ja Morant is busy playing basketball, living the active life that a young NBA star lives, if there's this little nuisance such as a lawsuit that could go away with him paying hundreds of thousands of dollars or even $1 million, and if that money is going to be life-changing money for this teenager, especially at the age of 17, chances are Ja's going to give in. Now, that's not it, because Ja Morant says that his brother was actually involved in this altercation as well, saying, police say Morant also told them that his brother was involved in the altercation as well, but the basketball player did not name the man. Yeah, I wonder why this kid didn't go after Ja Morant's brother and only went after Ja Morant. Maybe he has some sort of financial incentive. I don't want to accuse the young man of something, but pretty interesting that he only named Ja and not his brother if Ja's brother was also involved in this situation. Now, both parties, according to the docs, said that the fight was broken up by spectators spectator shortly after it began. Morant told officers that the teenager made verbal threats stating that he'd light his house up as he was being escorted off the property. Morant advised that he and his family were put in fear by the statement. According to the docs, police investigated the allegations for several weeks before they submitted the case to the district attorney's office on October 4th. Less than a month later, cops say that the DA declined prosecution. It's unclear what the plaintiff is seeking in the suit. Really? It's unclear what the plaintiff is seeking in the suit? He is naming only Ja Morant and not his brother. He instigated the whole situation to begin with. This is taking place in Tennessee, where Ja Morant is probably a huge deal there, considering that he is the biggest star in all of Tennessee. I mean, I guess you could debate between him and Derrick Henry in the NFL. I'd say he's the most successful athlete in the state of Tennessee right now. So everyone knows who he is. And you're saying that it's unclear what the plaintiff is seeking in this suit? Well, look, court records show Morant as well as his childhood friend Devontae Pack are listed as defendants. We've reached out to reps for Morant to comment, but have yet to hear back. 23-year-old has blossomed into one of the best players in the NBA after making his first ever All-Star team last year, considered a legitimate candidate to win the league's MVP award this year. Luka Doncic would like to have a conversation with you, bro. Jokes aside, I've seen this story many times before. I don't think Ja Morant is a bad guy, but obviously whenever your reputation is important to your career, whenever you're one of the more marketable guys in the NBA, whenever you're making hundreds of millions of dollars, quite literally, you're going to have a target on your back, unfortunately. And that could be in the form of people trying to get you to hit them so they could sue the living crap out of you. That could be in the form of women that are clearly after the lifestyle that you live. I mean, Drake would literally put hot sauce in his condoms in order to prevent that, which I think is personally really weird, but you get the point. And I think this is just one of those situations, man, where a young man who's 17 years old understands that if he could get Ja Morant to strike him, he could potentially come out with a gigantic payday. And what's chump change to Ja Morant is life-changing money for a 17-year-old kid. I don't think this makes Ja Morant a bad guy. It's just a situation that he was placed in, and unfortunately, it seems like there was no way to win. I mean, yeah, Ja Morant is young as well, but these athletes are media trained. They're warned about this type of stuff as well. So he must have felt really threatened by the situation to have acted in the way that he did. And obviously, whenever the headline is going to say that Ja Morant is being sued for attacking a Morant is obviously going to pay whatever it takes to settle this as soon as possible so they could sweep this under the rug, because no one is going to dig into the story like we're doing right now.
They're just gonna say, oh my god, Ja Morant attacks kids.
So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about this, man. Whose side are you on? Do you think Ja Morant is a horrible human being, or do you obviously think he's in a bad situation here? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.